Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever stopped to consider that the very systems meant to enlighten us, expand our minds, might actually be designed to keep us, well, kind of in the dark?
Or at least in a very specific kind of light.
Exactly. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that really cuts to the core of how we learn, how we think, and ultimately what kind of future we're building.
It's pretty fundamental stuff.
It really is. We're exploring this concerning idea of dogma being, well, strategically weaponized by state powers to serve specific capitalist interests, and how that actively preempts a truly liberating humanistic education.
What's really striking in the sources we looked at is the stark contrast they paint. On one hand, you have this profound potential of education, expanding the mind, fostering liberation, really powerful ideas.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's this serious warning about systems deliberately engineered to narrow our thinking, to channel it, towards specific, often hidden agendas.
So we'll be looking at how these deep ideas about dogma and a certain vision for education, how they sort of clash with the realities of state power and economic influence. It shapes not just what we learn, but who we become, right?
Absolutely. Who we're allowed to become, perhaps.
No, good point. We've got an incredible stack of material for this foundational text, defining dogma, a really sharp critique of some modern educational policies, and also this blueprint for what they call Neohumanist Education.
A liberating alternative.
Exactly. So our mission for you, the listener, is to go beyond just understanding what this looks like, but really grasp why it matters so profoundly for your own intellectual freedom and, well, the future of society.
Big stakes.
Definitely. So first things first, let's try and nail down what we actually mean by dogma. Our sources are quite powerful here. It's not just a belief, is it?
No, not simply a belief. They describe it as an idea, could be a grand one, but it's surrounded by boundary lines. Like you said, a fence around a concept.
A fence preventing any mind from exploring beyond it. That's quite a visual.
It is. And it's described as something that quite literally seals the future of the human intellect, puts a lid on curiosity, on understanding.
Wow. Okay.
So if an idea, whether it's in philosophy, economics, history, even science, puts up these kinds of walls, it inherently limits our capacity for mental expansion, doesn't it?
It has to.
And the sources really emphasize that fighting against all psychic dogmas, those ingrained beliefs, often subconscious, that restrict our inner world is absolutely essential. Why? For increasing the periphery of one's mind.
And expanding your mental horizons.
Precisely. Stretching those limits, challenging what we think is possible or true, and ultimately establishing ourselves in what they call human glory or the supreme stance. It sounds lofty, but it's really about intellectual and existential freedom.
Not just spiritual fluff.
Not at all. One of the core slogans, almost a battle cry, is dogma no more.
Right. So if dogma is this intellectual cage limiting our mental universe, what's the flip side? What should true education actually aim to do?
Well, if we connect that to the bigger picture of genuine education, our sources offer this remarkably comprehensive, sort of holistic framework. At its heart, education is seen as trilateral development.
Trilateral, meaning three parts.
Exactly. Simultaneous, harmonious growth in three vital areas: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual.
Yeah.
All together.
Okay, so not just stuffing facts into heads.
Far from it. It's about integrating the human personality, bringing all these aspects into a coherent whole, and awakening these dormant human potentialities, hidden talents, capacities within us for practical use in the world.
So the goal isn't just learning a lot or remembering a lot.
No, it's about powerfully applying that knowledge, those awakened potentials in everyday life, making it real.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, moving beyond just theory. This neo-humanist vision, as the material describes it, includes expanding the heart. What does that mean practically?
It means actively working to extend our circle of love, pushing it outwards to embrace everyone and everything, not just family or community, but all beings, all existence.
That's a big ask.
It is. The sources even suggest things like meditation as a way to achieve this sense of unity. And crucially, it's all about freeing the mind.
Which isn't passive.
No, it's active. Through relentless critical inquiry, being brave enough to challenge injustice, and cultivating this broad-minded rationality, a way of thinking that goes beyond narrow social or geographical limits. Seeing the bigger picture, always.
That connects to another concept they mentioned, Prāṇa Dharma. Am I saying that right?
You are. Prāṇa Dharma. Think of it as the core characteristic, the unique, vital essence or spirit of a person or a culture or even a whole people.
Like their fundamental nature.
Exactly. Their inherent selfhood, their most authentic expression. And the sources say that depriving someone or a group of their Prāṇa Dharma is the subtlest way of enmity. It's like stripping away their soul.
Wow. Okay, that's deep. So genuine education should, what, nurture that?
Precisely. It should reinforce and strengthen a people's Prāṇa Dharma, guide their progress, help them flourish, not hinder it, not try to suppress or distort it. It implies this deep respect for inherent character, not trying to make everyone the same.
And it also emphasizes this intrinsic thirst for knowledge, right? Not learning out of fear.
Yes, that stood out to me too. The material explicitly says, whatever students learn from their parents and teachers out of fear fades into oblivion.
That rings true.
It really does. It highlights how temporary and superficial fear-based learning is, contrasting it sharply with a genuine, heartfelt drive to learn, to grow, and this beautiful phrase, to assimilate the entire universe.
Making knowledge part of you, not just memorizing.
Exactly, internalizing it.
Okay, so we have this vision of liberating education. Now let's pivot to the darker side. How does this potential get twisted and weaponized?
Right. The sources give a pretty chilling account, using a very concrete example from India, a proposal by the University Grants Commission, the UGC.
That's the body overseeing higher education there, for context.
Correct. And the proposal was to infuse Indian knowledge systems across the entire curriculum. Now, on the surface, the language sounds positive, doesn't it? Cultural decolonization, recovering lost pride, authentic roots.
Sounds appealing, sure. But the analysis we read digs deeper. What's really going on?
This is where that gap between words and reality becomes crucial. The analysis of this UGC proposal suggests a system designed pretty explicitly to teach what to think, not how to think.
Ah, the classic distinction.
Exactly. It cultivates reverence instead of critical inquiry. For instance, it presents Kautilya's Arthashastra, that ancient treatise on statecraft, sometimes compared to Machiavelli.
Right, known for being quite pragmatic, even ruthless.
Precisely. It presented as timeless wisdom. But the sources point out it does so without inviting any critique of its brutal statecraft, its rigid caste-based social order, or even its prescriptions for political assassination.
It's just accept it.
Pretty much. This approach, the analysis argues, replaces the difficult work of analysis with the easy comfort of pride. It shuts down real engagement.
And it seems there's also this deliberate blurring of lines that's problematic.
Very much so. The proposal apparently mixes ancient concepts with modern ones in what are called absurd ways, like suggesting the mythical ideal of Ramaraja, that golden age of righteous rule, in the context of modern corporate social responsibility.
Right. The source called that like trying to fix a smartphone with a hammer.
That's the one. A great analogy. Or comparing ancient Indian time units with modern GMT. What's the point of these weird mashups?
What is the point?
Well, it creates a false equivalence. It basically gives this sacred indigenous stamp of approval to modern practices, which could even potentially cloak exploitation in the language of righteousness.
Okay, that's insidious.
And it gets worse. There's also this damaging blur between science and mythology, suggesting teaching maths from religious texts or linking subjects to the Vedas and Puranas, which are primarily religious, not scientific texts.
That devalues both, surely.
That's exactly what the analysis argues.
Yeah.
It devalues both our culture and the rigor of science. And this isn't just sloppy thinking. It's seen as a deliberate push of a specific political agenda in the guise of history.
Like including certain historical figures.
Yes, the example given is including Veer Savarkar, a key figure in Hindu nationalism, described as a strategic act of displacement, the goal, to redefine the nation itself, away from being a secular, diverse republic towards something more sectarian, ethno-religious.
And this also involves erasing certain knowledge, doesn't it? Creating a kind of monolith.
A dangerous monolith, yes. By elevating what's presented as upper caste knowledge as the only authentic Indian knowledge, it commits what they call symbolic violence.
Oh, so?
It effectively ignores or silences these incredibly rich traditions of resistance, anti-caste philosophies, the wisdom of syncretic saints, the ecological knowledge of Adivasi or indigenous communities, the vital oral histories of Dalit communities. All these crucial parts of India's real heritage get pushed aside.
So that's not just a bad curriculum.
No, the sources frame it as a direct attack on the university itself, on the very idea of it being a self-governing community of scholars.
How does it attack the university?
By acting as a top-down bureaucratic command. It bypasses the usual academic botters, the peer review processes, and this creates a chilling effect.
Meaning professors might self-censor.
Exactly. Young academics might fear contradicting the state-sanctioned narrative, worried about their careers. So independent scholars, who should be critical thinkers, risk becoming just compliant transmitters of the state's doctrine. It erodes academic freedom at its root.
Okay, so let's connect this back explicitly to our main theme. How does this weaponized dogma, this whole system, serve those capitalist class interests we talked about at the start? Where's the link?
That's the crucial question. And the sources point to this really interesting, almost counterintuitive paradox.
Which is?
A curriculum that looks anti-modern, steeped in ancient texts, focused on reverence, is actually described as being perfectly suited to the needs of modern global corporations.
How can that be? Seems contradictory.
It does. But the argument is it aims to create a workforce that's technically proficient, but politically and socially docile.
Skilled workers who don't ask too many questions.
Precisely. Think about graduates who might know some 15th century math, maybe, but are fundamentally unprepared for cutting-edge modern research, innovation.
So good for routine jobs, maybe.
Good for lower-level technical jobs, as the source puts it, applying existing formulas. But they lack the tools to invent new formulas, to question the system, to analyze complex problems critically. It produces workers with skills to serve the system.
But without the intellectual tools to challenge it, I see.
Exactly.
And that's how it preempts that liberating neo-humanist education by creating subjects, not citizens.
Perfectly put. Instead of nurturing individuals who hold authority accountable, who think critically, who drive change, this system trains obedience, conformity.
Subordinating reason to tradition, questioning to belief.
Intellectual autonomy to ideological conformity.
Yes.
The goal, stated starkly in one source, is not to create engaged Indians who can shape their own future, but loyal Indians who will accept the future decided for them.
Chilling. And this isn't exactly a new playbook, is it?
Not at all. The sources point out this historical pattern. For 3,000 to 4,000 years, education has often been formulated with a view to suit the needs of the capitalist class, aiming to create that slavish mentality.
A compliant workforce, basically.
Right. And there are parallels. Think about the British in colonial India. They apparently discern the Prāṇa of the people of India. They recognize that unique cultural essence.
Okay.
But then they systematically deprive them of the freedom to express their Prāṇa, how to be it, by imposing an objective Western education system that was fundamentally contrary to India's more subjective, holistic approach.
And the result?
The analysis says it created this group of people who were neither Indian nor civilian nor serviceable in a truly meaningful way, yet somehow perfectly suited to keep the colonial system running, often against their own people's interests.
So what we're seeing today in examples like the UGC proposal isn't isolated. It's part of a long pattern of using education as a tool of control, not empowerment.
That seems to be the argument, yes, which makes that neo-humanist call for proper education in the gospel of neo-humanism and also spiritual practice for proper psychic remolding feel incredibly vital.
A twofold approach, they called it.
Exactly. To counter not just physical control, but that even more insidious psychic subjugation, the kind that limits how we think and feel.
So how do we break free? What does genuine education require, according to this vision?
Fundamentally, it must be based on factuality, free from dogma or fanaticism, free from geographical or racial chauvinism, just focused on truth.
And it also puts a lot of emphasis on the educators themselves, right? Teachers, parents.
Immense importance on their high moral standards, their crucial role in fostering robust idealism in kids, avoiding bad practices like using fear or lies.
There was that story of Alarka.
Yes, a figure who, despite a really degraded past being misled, managed to rise to great heights through good company, ethical living, dedicated spiritual practice.
So it shows change is possible.
Profoundly possible. Self-realization is achievable, even after being led astray. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for transformation, really.
And this vision goes beyond the classroom, too, into society, media.
Absolutely. It argues that media, radio, pictures, drama, cinema should be used for genuine education, not just party propaganda or commercial exploitation catering to our base propensities.
Who should manage it, then?
Ideally, non-political cultured educators or non-governmental cultural bodies. The goal is to ensure media actually sow the seeds of true development, fostering critical thought and noble feelings, not just reinforcing power or selling stuff.
What a journey today. We've really dug into how dogma, weaponized by state and capitalist interests, can actively block the expansion of the mind, block liberating education.
A sobering picture.
But we've also glimpsed this powerful alternative, haven't we? This neo-humanist vision championing critical thinking, but also universal love, holistic development, genuine self-realization.
It really boils down to this fundamental conflict, doesn't it? You could almost call it a war over the purpose of knowledge itself.
How do you mean?
Well, is knowledge a tool for liberation? Something that frees the mind from the shackles of dogma, superstition, and prejudice? Something that helps create free, rational, compassionate individuals?
Or
is knowledge primarily a tool for identity formation? Something used to mold an individual into a loyal, obedient member of a collective defined by singular cultural, religious, or national terms, serving an external agenda.
That clarifies the conflict perfectly. So thinking about you, our listener, what does all this mean?
It means recognizing, I think, that the stakes could not be higher.
Yeah. It means being aware of the subtle ways education systems, even media, might be shaping us. And it's really a call, isn't it? To actively seek out the kind of learning that truly frees your mind, expands your heart, fosters genuine service.
Choosing an education that creates engaged, questioning citizens.
Not just compliant subjects, absolutely. So here's a final thought to mull over. If the subtlest form of enmity is depriving a person or a whole people of their Prāṇa Dharma, their unique, vital expression, what can you do? What steps can you take in your own life, in your community, to ensure that your own Prāṇa Dharma and that of the next generation is nurtured, celebrated, strengthened, not suppressed or twisted by the systems around you?